Hey guys, Stephen Bogerman here from Pro Physique. Today what I want to talk about, does lean mean healthy? What's up guys? Happy Thursday. Happy Thursday. Now today's video, does lean mean healthy? So this is something that came up today, and I think that just based off of some of what I've seen with competitors and as a coach and eating disorders and body image dysmorphia and all these kinds of things, I think it's an important thing to talk about, simply based on the fact that I think a lot of the time we can go into these shows and we can go into this, right? And maybe we set people up for failure in the long term. And I think that that's unfair to you guys for me to never address the issue. And then, it sets you up to be in a bad place long term. So let's talk about, is lean healthy? And so this obviously is a very big thing where it depends on how lean are we getting? Like, how conditioned are we getting? How low body fat are we going? And that's really the question here, because you can maintain a reasonably lean physique and be reasonably healthy, right? We can still have regular menstrual cycles. We can still have good performance in the gym, good energy levels, good recovery, right? And so, yes, we can maintain a reasonably lean physique and still be healthy, right? So that is doable. Now, I think for me, the big thing that we see is people that want to try to maintain stage lean year round. And that's where I think that we can get into trouble. Now, for me, as a guy, here's what happens when I get stage lean. I don't sleep well. My water retention changes, right? I'm peeing all the time, okay? My mood state goes down. Sex drive goes down, right? My joints hurt worse, right? My strength and performance goes down, right? So just in general, everything that I need to make it through my daily life kind of gets a little bit shittier as time goes on. And so the leaner I get, the worse it is. The more irritable I am, right? The more my hormones and my testosterone, obviously my testosterone is just negatively impacted, right? The more that everything in the gym is negatively impacted, right? Because when I'm working out, I want to make progress, I want to get stronger. And so being stage lean, I think, is very difficult because of the fact that those changes happen, right? So I'm more susceptible to being injured. My leverage has changed. In general, it's not a fun place to be. I don't enjoy being that lean. It's not fun, right? It's hard, it's challenging. And that's why prep is cool, because it's this challenge, right? This challenge to get somewhere that most people never can get to. Now for ladies, you're gonna have a lot of those same things, right? Your strength is gonna go down, your leverages are gonna change, your joints are probably gonna be hurting a little bit worse. You're not gonna be sleeping, you're gonna be peeing all the time, you're probably gonna lose your period, right? So a lot of those same things are gonna happen for ladies. We're still gonna see a lot of those detrimental side effects of being super duper lean. Now, I think here's one of the big changes. I think for what I've seen in the past is, and this is maybe some stereotypes, and I definitely know a lot of my female competitors, y'all know what I'm talking about, still lift heavy, right? You're still lifting heavy and going hard. So you see the strength decrements when they happen. However, if we're used to doing a lot of high rep sets and endurance work, we might not see the same changes, right? It might not be quite the drastic change when we get to that lean place in terms of what we're able to do in the gym, because we're working at very low percentages, right? So food for thought there. But there's still a lot of negative side effects that are coming with being that lean. Now, I don't necessarily think that amenorrhea is the worst thing ever, right? But if we're looking at it in terms of what is normal, what is normal, it's definitely not a good thing, right? We want to be able to have a menstrual cycle, right? A lot of women, maybe we want to get pregnant, maybe we want to have kids. It can be important, right? So maybe we can control that with birth control. We don't want to use dieting as a measure of birth control. So we see that there are a lot of changes that happen in the body. And this is because the body wants to survive, right? having some semblance of body fat that you carry around with you is very important in terms of survival and health, okay? So, like, when we see that we're having a lot of those prior things that I mentioned start to happen, we want to take very good inventory. Like, if we're in a prep and we're going into a bodybuilding show, it's not fucking healthy, right? That's part of the process. It just is what it is. And for those that think, like, fit and healthy, right? I think that's a big issue. You know, we have told people that bodybuilding is healthy, or we've given people the impression that bodybuilding is healthy when it is very much not so. It's not a healthy thing to do. And that's why you want to take ample time off for an off season. That's why you don't want to do show after show after show after show and continue to stay super lean forever, right? We know that the metabolism adapts. We know that we lose things like sex drive and sex hormones and menstrual cycle and all this other stuff. Like, that's not normal stuff. So it's important that we understand that that's not, like, the bodybuilding, it's not like the prime target of health. The prime target of health is like, you know, maybe I'm a little soft and I'm feeling good and I sleep well, you know, and mentally and emotionally and physiologically, things are pretty well in order. Like, health and then maybe like our idea of fitness don't always line up. And so it's really important that we understand that, because if we don't, and here's what I've seen happen all too many times, we get stage lean, right? We get really nice and lean, we get shredded, and it feels great, and it's this really good, big accomplishment because we've done something that not many people can do. But we get stuck in the idea that we need to stay there. We get stuck in the idea that we can maintain that forever, and that things are going to be okay. So here's what happens. And one of the big things I've seen from the really hard dieting is hair falling out. And it's mostly in my female competitors. They start losing hair. Hair's falling out way more than it should. And they're not getting better. There's no menstrual cycle. They're consistently, you know, it creates unhealthy relationships with food, and body image dysmorphia. So it's one of those things that we really want to keep an eye on. We want to make sure that we're paying attention to the right things. So whereas it's very cool and it's okay to get there for a time, we don't want to stay there. And so I think that it's important that we realize that being healthy means having a little bit of a softer look most of the time. Right now, it doesn't mean we have to be overweight, but, you know, if we're, you know, for me, a good place where I like to maintain is about 15 pounds over stage weight, right? So it's not that I'm not lean, but I'm not stage lean, right? You're not looking and seeing feathering in my quads. You're not seeing, you know, feathering in my abs. You don't see glute striations, right? There's not all that hamstring separation. Those things are for the stage. And they're for a temporary amount of time. We don't want to stay there forever. We want to make sure that we set ourselves up for life and to have, you know, a nice, healthy life, right? Because not only is it like the physiological health, it's mental health that's also affected. Like, when we're consistently dieting, doing crazy amounts of cardio, so one, all the crazy cardio and crazy workouts, like, it's stressful on the body. It's a lot of stress. It creates cortisol response. It's hard to recover from, right? And so we can eventually adapt to it, yeah, absolutely. But if we're dieting on top of that and we have low calorie intake, the body has to adapt to that as well. That's not a good place to be. It makes it really hard to go out and enjoy dinner with friends and family, or to have a drink if we want to, or to just do the normal social things that most people are doing. And so, you know, I'm not the most social guy ever, but those social interactions are still important for my psychological and my emotional health. I still need those. So if I can never have that with my friends and my family, it makes life a little bit more difficult, right? So I really just wanted to get the point today. Stage lean is not a good place to stay. You know, a good place, and I would rip my shirt off, but I made an awkward post on Instagram. So if you want to see me without a shirt off, looking kind of softy-ish, you know, like, it's soft, right? Then that's it. And we say soft because bodybuilding has obviously completely changed my standards on what body composition should look like, right? If you go out and you look at most people, if you go out to the mall, go out to the beach, go out, like, most people are overweight nowadays. We have these, we're not good at being moderates, right? We're good at extremes. So in a world of extremes, the healthy place to be is more often than not, it's in that moderate zone. So guys, I want to really encourage you, if you're having issues with your body image, if you're having issues with trying to stay stage lean, please go find somebody to talk to. There's nothing wrong with seeking mental help, right? If we have some body image dysmorphia, and I have body image dysmorphia, I still kind of see myself as a 130-pound guy, right, from high school. Now, is it to the point where it negatively affects my life? I have it in check enough to where I can see it, I can recognize it, and I can work around it. But sometimes we have a hard time working around it. And there's nothing wrong with finding somebody to help you to work through and around those problems, right? Now, I as a coach, I'm not a therapist, I'm not qualified to deal with those mental issues, right? It's important that you find somebody who is. So if you guys are struggling with that, I would encourage you, find somebody to talk to. Worst case scenario, you find out that nothing's wrong with you and it's in your head. Best case scenario, you start getting the help that you need. And that's it. That's all I wanted to talk about today, guys. I'm going to cut it right now because I'm going a little bit long, but I hope you have a wonderful Thursday, and I'll talk to you soon.